Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. Well, Thursday. Can you believe we're almost to the end of the week, first week of the Iran war? Seems like it's you know, too fast. Life goes by quickly, folks. All right, well, let's see where we're at this morning. A little nervous based on what I've read. Oh, ouch, yeah. So the 10-year treasury is dipping below 112.16. That's not good. I really don't like that. Well, but I mean, this was so positive. So I don't think that I need to panic until we're getting to like the 111 area. The whole darn year is blowing by. Well, I don't know. That's a different issue for me. Hold on. Focus, Seth. Focus. Yield curve flattening, by the way. S&P 500 is doing okay. Oil is still up there. Oh, actually, oil is at highs. Okay, so that's clearly why the treasuries are getting destroyed. I'm seeing stuff like, even though the administration is doing everything they can to ensure that stuff is still flowing, doesn't look like anything's crossing the strait. So, yeah. This could get rough. I'm worried this could get rough. Well, gold, silver, copper, all kind of down a little bit. There was a spike, some talk about central bank in Japan and them talking about what I think they're going to do. They don't think that they're going to raise interest rates, I think was what they were saying. Japanese yen moving, but probably also moving because of the treasuries, right? And then the dollar, well, it's still elevated. Bitcoin, they built on that jump above 70K. A little bit. I hate Bitcoin so much, but I'm kind of rooting for them in this situation, and I don't know why. I guess I just feel like that hope. You know, it's down so much, and you're buying the dip, and you want it to go. For me, I don't feel like that the whole year is blowing by. I guess it's March, but because I started a new job and everything, it feels like it's been a year to me. Like so much has happened and changed. Coming up on 3-month mark, and then, you know, I guess that's a point at which you feel a little bit more comfortable. Like maybe you're at home, but anyways. Let's come in and reset our levels. Okay. So 12.5 is a key extended session -2 sigma. So pretty strong support there. I'm going to do it over here in a minute. Okay. I bought another share of iBit, so let's see if I could finish Bitcoin off. Well, I mean, there's certainly it's so quiet over there. You know, it's kind of funny because I don't think the financial system realizes the precarious situation that they're in. If Bitcoin had another flush lower to new lows, it would really do real damage, long-lasting damage to the Bitcoin ecosystem. I'm not going to say that move would be the one that like really ends it all. Might take more than that, but it would certainly be ugly. And it just kind of pushes you closer and closer to MSTR blowing up, you know? And if MSTR blows up, whew, might take a long time for it to play out, because there might be like bankruptcy. Like they wouldn't sell it off immediately, right? They'd go into bankruptcy and they'd have some guy, and some guy would have to sell it off. But it would be a real disaster. It would be a real disaster. Well, what do we got here? Oh, I have a bunch of things. Oh, that's right. There was a new MacBook announced yesterday. For $600, I'm kind of interested. I don't know. It is a whole thing. Maybe I'm thinking about this because they were talking about in chat. Linux. They're talking about Linux. And, oh, you need coder skills to run Linux. Not everyone can do that. No, it's easier than ever. I don't think that Linux is nearly as good as Windows is right now. Well, Windows got some serious problems. And, like, there's been leaks about what the next Windows operating system is. And that it would be a subscription. It would be like a monthly subscription for your OS. And people are flipping out. Like, I think that if Microsoft comes out and says, yeah, it's going to be a subscription, I think that it's going to be like the apocalypse. I think that all the gamers and the hardcore will leave. I don't know if they'll actually go to Linux. It's the Apple ecosystem for business is catching up. Mac OS is a viable alternative. Not really for gaming, but only a matter of time. Let's see here. Oh, I still have some tabs open from yesterday. Well, let's see if we got anything. The last that I had read was that there was a oil tanker on fire somewhere, but not in the Strait. Oh yeah, I didn't mention anything about the initial jobless claims. Well, U.S. initial jobless claims 213K versus an expected 215K, so slightly, just slightly under. U.S. import prices month over month, spot 2. Good. Continued jobless claims 1.868 versus the previous 1.845. So that's not necessarily good. Although I don't know if the jobless claims and everything is particularly relevant at the moment because we're having a war with Iran and the employment situation might look completely different next month. Russian tanker blown up yesterday. Well, yeah, there was that, but this one was like a U.S. oil tanker off of Kuwait, I think is what I was reading. But again, the thing is with the Iran war is there's like absolutely no reporting going on about like what's going on inside. The United States is claiming all of these things that they've taken out and everything. But we don't really know what's going on. I guess the one thing we do know is that Kurds are attacking the border now. So that is a thing. I don't know. It does kind of feel to me. It kind of feels to me like the U.S. expected that they would they would blow up, just absolutely decimate the IRGC, and then the Iranian people would rise up. And that we would already be seeing a full-scale revolution. And by the end of the week, there would be factions for the U.S. to arm and a civil war and that sort of a thing. But I don't think that's happening. I think that they devastated the clerical power structure, but the military is not going to give in. That the military was basically all prepared for that. So this could be a long thing. Could be wrong. Maybe it's just, I'm just too impatient. I do feel like I'm a little too impatient thinking about it, but I guess maybe partly why I'm impatient is because, like, what are the markets doing? I'm not necessarily seeing trades this week, so no. Let me think on this for a little bit. Did you see South Korea's stock market plummeted 12% and recovered it the next day? I didn't read too much into that, but I did see the headlines that there was a big hit in Korea. Markets are a meme at this point. Well, I think the thing is that markets have become so sophisticated and we hold them in our society in such high regard that we have really kind of dismissed how fragile they can be. The problem, one of the biggest problems with the global system is it's an increasingly more complicated and interconnected system. And that means that it is impacted by literally everything that happens. And so something like this, one little part of the world, traffic not going through, could have a very profound impact on the trajectory of the entire global economy. So another thing that kind of concerns me is that this really hurts China the most, I think. China was the one that was getting all that oil. They're telling their oil producers to not export anything. I'm not really hearing anything from China, which says to me they're holding fast. It says to me that this could easily become a proxy war between the United States and China. China starts, throwing money into it, just like we throw money into Ukraine. I'm also kind of feel that one of the things is that aerial only campaigns have not really been terribly successful in the past, as far as I understand and can recall. So I kind of feel like that at some point there will need to be boots on the ground. I think the American public would be very, very opposed to American boots on the ground in Iran, but I'm not sure I see how you get the job done. And yeah, it's still just back to the Iranian people need to rise up, and I kind of think that right now everybody's hunkered down because it's not safe. And I think that the IRGC is still kind of suppressing people. Anybody gets out in the street and starts doing something, it only takes a few guys from the military to come in and put a stop to that. Unless the people have weapons. Oh, I didn't see this. Macron declares attack on Iran violates international law. Spanish MEP calls for Spain to leave NATO. Okay, so can you explain this to me? I've seen so many people. It's just isolated incidents all over the place, but it's like everywhere. Facebook, Reddit, wherever. Where basically people are like, the United States is attacking Iran for no reason and yada, yada, yada. And I'm just like, where the hell has everybody been the past 60 years? Like, Iran has done so many things. Blowing up U.S., attacks on U.S. carriers, killing American soldiers, detaining American citizens, all sorts of stuff that alone would justify a war in the past 60 years. And now all of a sudden everybody's like, they're just doing this for no reason. Seriously. It's mind-blowing. And then now we get this France is outright saying it violates international law. Europe has lost its mind. That's why. So something we were talking about last night, because there was a war powers vote, and there were some people in chat that seemed really upset about it. Because they think you need to declare war. You don't. I mean, I think that the law and the courts are pretty clear on this point that you don't need to declare war to do military operations. Though you do need the Congress's continued authorization to do it. The thing is that Congress is never going to vote against it. I remember many, many times where they were voting against Iraq or Iran years and years into it, right? But it always passed. Why? Because if Congress put a stop to military action that the president had authorized, it would do so much damage to American credibility and the global system. It will never happen. It will always be close because the senators have an incentive. There's a group of people that really don't like that. They don't like war. I mean, the public in general doesn't like war, and it's popular to vote against war. Right. And that's the whole thing is, I think the Constitution was kind of written so that Congress had to declare war. And it was something that it basically in the modern era will always be too unpopular to do. But military actions still have to happen. So it'll always be close, right? Always be close because senators have a reason to kind of push it, but never actually step over the edge, because if they stepped over the edge, it would be like doomsday, right? But I feel like that Europe, not, attacking Iran is a big deal. It's been a big problem for a long time. Almost all of these other problems that we've dealt with can kind of originate in Iran to some extent, right? So for Europe to be like, no, I don't support it, I think is mind-boggling. It's a very, very poor decision, I think. Germany somehow is fine with the U.S. decision? Well, it's really France and Spain right now. Oh man, Spain, where Spain is going to be in 10 years. I really wonder. Because the government that's in there right now is like full steam ahead with everything that the anti-globalists hate. I'm seeing this, you're going to see this everywhere. So something that's been happening in the United States is you'll get people, you often former intelligence operatives. So it seems to me that the CIA basically said, well, we don't like what's going on in American politics. So we think the best thing to do is to train our employees to be good politicians and for them to leave the CIA and go and enter being a politician. So they'll run basically, and then because you have those credentials and everything, you run as a moderate Democrat. And then as soon as you're in office, do all the liberal things, right? Like that's exactly what happened in Virginia was that what's her name? That lady, she ran very much as kind of like a centrist. Should we not say centrist, but, you know, kind of as like the, I'm going to be the adult in the room, and then immediately passed a slew of really, really wild far left policies. And that's kind of what's happening in Spain too, is the government gets in and then they're pushing far left policies, going really crazy with it, like we're going to import as many people as possible and things like that. So there's parts of Europe and parts of the US that are just not going to be recognizable in 10 years. And I don't know where that goes, but I really wonder if that happened where I lived, how would, because Utah is different, you know? I think that Utah tries really, really hard to be tolerant. So, like, if it was like, oh, we need to be, we're going to send tons of Muslim refugees your way, I do think that the leaders would allow that. But then if people started pushing Sharia law, then it would be, like, ugly. Yeah, Europe already unrecognized. I know, man. The thing that frustrates me about it is I'm all for let's call it multiculturalism. The United States, if we didn't have any immigration whatsoever, would not be the country that it is today. It's kind of having waves of new blood coming in kind of keeps the population and the culture healthy to some extent. Okay. But the wave of migrations that we're seeing now are very different. Before, it was, you know, people that saw the American culture and the American values, and those were things that they wanted, and so that's why they come over. What we're seeing now are people that are primarily coming over for the economic activity and frankly want to conquer the United States. I think there are a sizable portion of these immigrants that straight up want to conquer the United States and Europe. And what they want to turn it into, I am not okay with. I am not okay with an Islamic caliphate in the United States. People would keep telling me that that's like not a risk, but it kind of seems to me like the way that things are going, that 200 years it's inevitable. Unless the United States and Europe have a shift similar to what happened in the Dark Ages, that is like, actually, no, this is an existential threat to our society and we need to end it. We need to kick it out. Considering all the money Western governments are dumping into their immigrants, it's really hard for me to avoid assuming the governments are just using them as a de facto economic stimulus plan. Well, yeah, well, this does get interesting because it's really hard to have strong GDP growth if the size of your population is declining. It is. I would think, like the thing is I think that people adjust, and if the economic conditions aren't, you know, based on what the economic conditions are, that's going to change how many kids that they have, right? But maybe there's some of that going on, but it also seems to me that there has just been large enough shifts in modern societies that we have less kids in general. What, they're choosing migrants over natives? In some places, yeah. Well, it's, I don't know. Like, we need to be careful when we're saying they're giving, like, I really think that what's going on is kind of more dynamics in the system again, right? Because this kind of goes back to this thing like, action, when you're talking about actions from a system are different from when we look at it with people. Like I don't know if it really makes sense to sit down and say, like, are the actions of the United States in Iran moral or not? Like, morality is something that we apply to individuals, to what you do and what you should be doing, and it's different when you're talking about a system. And we could go and blame individual politicians that are really part of it, right? But at the end of the day, it's going to happen. It's just going to happen if the system incentivizes it. And it seems to me that the system incentivizes it. That politicians, they can import voters, and it benefits them. And there's economic benefits to some groups of people. And the cultural impact of it, who cares? Yeah, native population. Well, I mean, I think that the United States will it's not too bad, but parts of Europe, I'm definitely like in the UK in particular is the place in question right now, right? As it kind of really feels like they're on the edge. The politics over there are getting really tense. Is the British public gonna shift? What's that movie where, like, nobody can have kids anymore, and then they find a woman that has a child, and it takes place in the UK, and there's a lot of stuff about children of men. Man. Because when that movie came out, I kind of thought that maybe this is just a liberal fever dream sort of a thing. But I'm not sure that the creators of that film were actually trying to be overtly political. They were actually trying to predict the future, and it seems like they did a good job. because that children of men future, like, disregarding the nobody can have children thing, but people are not having as many children. And then where does children come from? It comes from the Muslim migrants. Like, isn't that exactly like the world that they were portraying? Oh, it's almost eerily accurate. Almost like they had a time machine. Demolition Man did pretty good with it. Yeah, it really did. It really did. I mean, the thing that I don't think people understand is that a lot of the things that we're seeing today, particularly as it pertains to culture wars in the United States, you know, like, we all kind of view it as like a surprise. Like, oh, all of a sudden the culture changed and now there's this culture war sort of a thing. Well, and when I really think the reality is that it's been like slow brewing since the 60s. There's been people saying these, pushing these kinds of cultural ideas since the 60s. And it was always, like I remember in school, people talking about it in school and like, oh, they want this to happen and they want this to happen. And we as kids were all like, nah, that's ridiculous. Nobody would ever say that. Of course, we're in Utah, so we're extra conservative, right? But then, like, it's exactly what happened. It's exactly what happened. So even in the 80s, they were kind of aware of that, like, politically correct sort of authoritarianism coming in. And Demolition Man did a good job of portraying it. That wasn't the 80s. That was the 90s, wasn't it? When was that movie released? I'm just on a far right wing rant tear today, I guess. I can remember reading stuff that was like proposals from scientists that were concerned about climate change and overpopulation. I mean, this was before climate change was a thing, but overpopulation. And they were basically saying that like everybody would need to congregate into one tiny city. There'd be like one city and it would be population controlled. And then the whole rest of the country would have to be used for farming. Farming and just, ecology. Because otherwise, we would destroy the environment. Which just is pretty radical and bonkers about it. Luckily, what do we call it? I want to just say climate change. I want to say, environmentalists. There you go. The whole far left environmentalist complex seems to have suffered some pretty big declines in support over the past year. So maybe that one's going in the right direction. I don't know. Like the thing is, let's do some trading. The thing is I don't feel like that I have anything to say about that stuff that really contributes to the conversation. We're just repeating things that we've talked about before, right? It's just on my mind. Really, what started this? Europe is not supporting the United States actions in Iran. That's a big shift. One that's not getting nearly enough attention. But it's not like there's anything else to talk about. And let's do some trading. I don't think I have a trade right now. Well, if we had a trade, it would be buying on the theory that this extended session 2 sigma holds, right? So be aware the UK's Prime Minister is talking about sending military jets to Qatar. So So the thing I'm seeing on the news squawks, by the way, Wolf Research says the Trump administration has few policy options to curb rising energy prices tied to tensions with Iran. Now, the Keir Starmer getting up and talking in the UK, hey, this is actually an important moment for him because the UK everybody is upset over there right now, right? The native English are kind of mad, like think Starmer has gone crazy and is some of the draconian free speech laws that he, anti-free speech laws that he's put in place and not helping with Iran and yada yada. But then you have his Muslim base that is upset that the US is attacking Iran and they don't, So how do you toe the line between those two? Because there's a real risk that the Liberal Party loses their position in the government. I don't know what is the correct phrasing I should use, but the Nigel Farage's party is ascendant right now. It really could result in a change in leadership over in the United Kingdom. And so that's why Starmer is kind of trying to get out in front of it. Restore Britain. I don't know. I don't have too high hopes. The thing is that the Conservative Party was in power for a long time, and they really screwed up. They really screwed up and that's how you got the Liberals. I don't know. What do you do about it? I'm not an expert in UK politics, but sure is interesting to hear about. So the headline I see on Zero Hedge is a massive wave of Iranian missiles pummeled Israel overnight as Trump hopes of a quick victory fading. Yeah. New York Times says Thursday, it writes, his calculation has been that he can launch military operations with the loss of few American lives and minimal disruption to the economy. The opening days of the war in Iran are challenging that assumption. Has he actually made that assumption? I don't know if they've explicitly. Well, maybe they have said that. I'm not sure if I would necessarily characterize it in that manner. But even if that's what they're saying, that's not necessarily what they're expecting in their mind, And there was, some indication at the very beginning they were saying, well, this is probably a 4-week thing. Pentagon is requesting additional intelligence officers for at least 100 days. This strongly suggests the war could last far longer than the initially suggested 4-week timeline. Oh, interesting. There's a video here. So here's the missile coming in, and here's the Israeli missiles coming to intercept it, and it was able to dodge them. There's been a lot of discussion about how can Iran keep up its missile campaign versus the United States keep up, because if they're using cheaper stuff. But the US seems to think that, like, Iran doesn't have much left. So there being a lot of attacks last night is kind of curious. Some Kurdish groups are already preemptively getting hit. Statement carried by state media said Iranian forces are cooperating with noble courts to thwart what it described as Israeli-American plan to attack Iranian soil. This after many Western pundits have questioned the purpose of government officials airing or leaking supposedly covert plans for the CIA and Mossad to arm Iranian Kurdish separatists. I think the thing that I'm seeing though is that the establishment has kind of been egging for a war with Iran for a long time. Do you remember when Hillary was running for president and people were saying, like, if Hillary gets put in, like, the first thing that she will do is start a war with Iran? Yeah, that's been a thing for a long time. And now that we are getting the war with Iran, the establishment is kind of almost dragging its feet. Maybe just because they don't know what to do or what's going on. Just like the kinds of things like the signal, like you would get signals that are like, okay, this is the line, this is what we're in support of, this is what we're working towards, or whatever. It's like nothing. It's just like complete fog. Yeah, because the wrong person started it. Yeah. Put a Democrat in charge, and then they will except for who would the Democrat be? I don't know. Let's just say that it's Gavin Newsom. You put Gavin Newsom in the presidency, and he wouldn't stop the Iran war. He would expand it, and then all of a sudden they'd all be in support. So that's basically what happened in Vietnam. Well, I mean, it was always started by the left, but I always kind of felt like JFK kind of did it reluctantly, and then LBJ got in, and man, did he escalate it. when I'm reading these stories on Zero Hedge, I feel like I'm getting my daily dose of Russian propaganda. Hmm. No longer list regime change as a specific goal. Yeah, very curious too. Well, in the treasuries, there has been a little bit of flattening, and they did come back down to the lows, and there's a little bit of an iceberg. So there is a little bit of an interesting point here. I feel like it's maybe a little bit too late for me to really try and do anything with it. Nor do I have a good idea of what it's going to do here. I'm seeing buying in the 5 and selling in the 30, which kind of contradicts what I'm seeing the yield curve doing. So maybe the yield curve is flipping. Jim O'Neill has been nominated by President Trump to serve as the national director of the National Science Foundation. Open source Rust futures charting and backtest platform. Wow, this guy already has the Rhythmic API. Everything is available at the GitLab repository. Thank you for providing a link. Not. Oh, here we go. He building it with eyes. That's weird. He called it the same thing I did. There it is. I'm like, where's the app? actually have pre-built releases. 5 releases. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. I'm trying to find their connection settings here. He has all of the Rhythmic servers in a JSON file. But where does one actually input connections? There we go. Manage connections. Quick plus. Rhythmic. Done. So it's the base. I'm a little surprised here because I wanted to connect to Rhythmic and haven't been able to get the resources to do it. So him saying that, well, I just read their documentation is a little bit like, wait, what? Really? What? That simple, huh? Mm-hmm. Okay, but it doesn't have plugin mode. That's a key thing to note. Let's send him a message. How long has he been working on this for? January. Why use a 1 minute chart on this XC? Put it on. Well, so first of all, this is actually a chart of the dollar index. So I put it on a 6C chart because it's a sub indicator, but that's why I have the 6C so small and the sub indicator so big. Because it's really for my dollar index. Could I put it on a 15-minute chart? I suppose. But really what I care about is, has the dollar been going up or down in the recent past? So you see how I've got the cursor set here to global no time scroll. So I'm going through here and saying, okay, here was this peak. Does that correspond to a peak in the treasury? Are they some correlation that's going on there? That's the main thing that I'm using it for. And then more recently, we've gotten these volatility levels. So if I am seeing that kind of correlation, I can kind of see, oh, well, if the dollar is maybe reaching one of those points where it tends to turn around, then I got to be cautious over here in the treasury. I mean, he has a picture of a chart that is pretty far. So that's really curious to me. Oh, I see what's going on. This guy didn't like deep trades, and so he's trying to copy it as deep trades. What is your formula? Yeah, it's the same dollar index that's been around for like 50 years now at this point or whatever. The absolute value that you're going to get, this 99.02, is probably going to be slightly different from the number that you're getting over in ICE, because my number is being calculated from the futures. From the FX futures. Whereas ICE's number is a direct future. Trying to remember why I felt that ICE was not going to work. Could technically put combined volume. Yeah, I suppose. I'm not sure that would really help anything, though. People underestimate the currency futures, so it made me trade full time. I mean, you really like outright trade them, because being able to like hedge and spread with them and everything is useful. But I kind of feel like that currencies in and of themselves, trying to predict what those are going to do in the short term is really a fool's game. But if you combine it all into a larger portfolio sort of a thing, it becomes really powerful.
Block sell.
Plays in my advantage. There's no okay. Oh, you know what I need to do? What this guy's thing? Yeah. Cargo. Yeah. Where'd I put it? Any local AI? Well, I mean, isn't everybody using that Mortbot thing? Did I put it on GitHub? Yeah. So this one is Slint. Man, some of this was 7 months ago, really. Really? Are we already to iced version 14? I think some of it is that it's improved in the past 7 months. Do I really not have the iced version? Okay, so there's a menu. Here's a canvas example. How do you message people on Reddit now? Looks like the UK is in the fray. Well, they have been doing some stuff, but they haven't like gone as far as like full on. I don't know how to describe it. Sorry, I'm deep into something completely different. I wonder why you can't message this guy. Well, other thing we gotta check out on this guy's thing is how does his data. Oh, that's This guy has way too much stuff for it to have been like in a day. Unless he's vibe coding it. There you go, Rhythmic. He must have vibe coded this. This is like way too much code to have been done by somebody in a month. I don't know. Well, I don't know what to do. It's really bizarre to me that there's people that have gotten really obsessed with this deep charts thing. That like deep charts came out and then they didn't like it, or there was problems with it, or it was too expensive. And like there's better platforms out there. Like always, so much so that this guy has gone and done quite a bit of work just to make something that would be free and open source. This is a little wild to me. Now I'm just gonna have to
block by. Block by.
Okay, something just happened. What was that? I saw that come through. That was a big There was a big buy through there, and then the amount of absorption on the way back, 649 what?
Block sell.
Deep Charts is a white label. Yeah, no, it is. Which is why I'm just like so perplexed. That guy got that popular with this order flow stuff, and then he made a platform and everybody disliked it. But the thing that's weird to me also is that I don't see what's so special about that platform that's the one that they're copying. Like, why aren't they going through and looking at that and then
Block
saying,
buy.
oh, well, there's Ninja Trader. What's Ninja Trader like, and this and that, and
Block
but it's
sell.
not. This is sort of, I don't understand it. Okay, so something's definitely going on. I haven't heard anything come over my news squawk yet. The SPOOs are actually up as well. I suppose that what's happening must be a good thing because the treasuries are going up and oil is maybe coming down. Hegseth tells Latin America military leaders border security must be top priority. I'm going to stick here until I hear what the headline is. There was definitely a headline that's not yet been disseminated to the whole market. It's not on
Block
Twitter
buy.
yet. Look at that. This is going to be really big. And man, the amount of volume too. We've had over 40, well, not quite that much. 30,000 contracts through that. Like, wow. That's wild.
Block sell.
Sierra Charts is the best. Well, there's problems with Sierra Charts as a platform, but I really want to make my own platform. I'm a little, I don't know. It's kind of funny. I feel weird about it. I guess part of it is that I'm just shocked how much further this guy got than I did. It does seem like part of it is maybe that the frameworks that I was looking at using and kind of got stuck on have evolved, essentially. But there's some other stuff in here, like that he has a full rhythmic data connector. And how does he have that? Like when you go and you look at his commit history, he's creating files way too quickly. It would have to be something vibe coded, but I really don't think that AI could make that code and have it work right now. Yeah, no, anybody who trades full. Okay, that's. I don't think that any one person is going to have a wide enough net to know which platform full-time traders are using and aren't. I'm going to bet you that if you were to go into the users of every platform and look at, how many people they have that are like, I don't know. They're especially my kind of level of like, okay, you've been doing it for 5 years sort of a thing. Probably all of them have probably hardly anybody. I've definitely seen people using Ninja Trader. I would from the surveying and stuff that we've done, Sierra Charts and Ninja Trader are equally popular. I only hate one, and it's MetaTrader. Yeah, it's funny. It's always MetaTrader. Well, I don't know if the guy will notice or say anything. It seems like I can't message him. Maybe he'll be interested.
Block by.
But I can definitely use his code here to give the platform a big jump up, and we could start spending a lot more time working on that again, because like the big kind of roadblock was one is the library you're using for GUI actually correct, and I tried iced and had some problems with it. It seems to me like this guy has the stuff. Let's just open this up again real quick. Now it's time to get going. He has layout. I don't know if you can actually oh, actually you kind of can. Maybe. I don't know how you add a window, but that part is there. And he has a file menu. So I can look at that too. Go back to ICE to get the data and then combine that with my other stuff, and then you'd have something that really gets you. NinjaTrader. Well, yeah, you know, you're right, Vital. You got to understand though that most of us, when we got ourselves wedded to the NinjaTrader ecosystem, it wasn't like that. I'm very much unhappy with the way that they've gone with broker, especially because I prefer the rhythmic data that rather than the CQG. And the CQG continuum that you basically have to use with NinjaTrader brokerage seems kind of terrible to me. And I can't use like my multiple platforms together with it, so I don't like that. But I have some other things. Like I really want to be able to write all of my scripts and stuff in Python. I'm more interested in the platform. It has stuff for AI and for machine learning like built into it, because none of the platforms really have that. And I really feel like that you're just not going to get very far doing algorithmic trading stuff without machine learning. Okay. CQG has 350 mil? No way. Wow. I mean, I wouldn't. So I don't think that CQG data is very good, but 350 milliseconds sounds a little fantastical to be honest. Anyways. Man, I wonder if I have the time to go in and work on this. Well, maybe tomorrow we can. But I gotta go in today. So there's a meeting interested in this afternoon. So I'm gonna get going. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, stay excellent, team.